Men spend hundreds of dollars on complex serums, moisturizers, and multi-step grooming routines, only to look in the mirror and still see dark circles and exhausted ashen skin. That disconnect happens because of a process called invisible sabotage. Every single day, highly specific, unconscious physical habits are overriding the topical treatments being applied to the skin. This diagram breaks down the human face into three distinct layers. Facial aesthetics are entirely determined by what happens inside these systems: the deep biochemical vascular network, the skeletal and muscular jaw structure, and the outer epidermal surface. If there is a breakdown in any one of these areas, vascular failure, structural weakness, or surface damage, it immediately manifests on the outside as the symptom we recognize as a tired, lifeless face. True facial aesthetics are a biological output. No expensive creams can bypass poor internal biology until 7 specific, everyday habits are eliminated. The first mechanism breaking down your internal chemistry begins at 2 a.m., driven by the habit of endlessly scrolling through a phone screen in bed. The body synthesizes collagen, the primary protein responsible for keeping skin tight, almost entirely during deep sleep. Delaying that rest starves the tissue of its only repair cycle, leaving the skin physically unable to recover from the previous day's wear. Even if a normal sleep cycle is maintained, a second internal bottleneck restricts the body: chronic baseline dehydration. Looking at this capillary network visualization, a lack of water intake physically restricts blood flow. Sluggish movement cannot flush out cellular waste, creating a dull surface complexion. With restricted circulation, applying topical moisturizer to a dehydrated face essentially hydrates dying tissue from the outside in. The most aggressive internal threat operates even faster than dehydration. It comes through the daily consumption of processed sugars found in sodas, pastries, and energy drinks. This molecular animation illustrates a process called glycation. When excess sugar enters the bloodstream, the molecules cluster and bombard rigid, healthy collagen proteins, causing them to physically snap apart. Simultaneously, this chemical spike deregulates oil production across the entire face. Depriving the body of sleep and water while introducing high levels of processed sugar actively starves the skin of its necessary structural building blocks while feeding it toxins. Beyond internal chemistry, there are unconscious physical mechanics that degrade the face. The most destructive is chronic mouth breathing. Bypassing the nasal airway results in shallow, inefficient breathing. This directly reduces oxygen saturation to the facial tissues and signals the central nervous system to enter a low-grade state of stress. This rendering shows the physical impact over time. Notice the taut muscular tension of the nose breathing profile. When the mouth opens to breathe, the tongue drops to the floor of the mouth, causing the jawline to go slack and introducing severe fluid puffiness beneath the chin. Strict nasal breathing reverses this effect. It optimizes oxygen circulation through the bloodstream and forces the facial muscles into a tighter, supported resting position against the roof of the mouth. Skeletal and muscular facial aesthetics are dictated by respiratory mechanics. Poor breathing habits physically reshape and age the bone structure of the face over time. Moving to the final phase, the outer epidermal layer is constantly subjected to surface abuse, starting with the unconscious habit of touching the face. Throughout the day, hands accumulate thick layers of bacteria from keyboards, phones, and door handles. Transferring those germs directly into facial pores causes rapid clogging and acne breakouts that immediately override the effects of a premium morning face wash. The environment carries a second invisible threat. Many people assume sunscreen is strictly for the beach, leaving their skin exposed to indoor UV radiation while sitting near windows or driving. In this cross-section of the skin barrier, we can observe how ambient UV waveforms easily penetrate standard glass. They strike the top epidermal layer, causing microfractures and dark spots. This specific type of scarring is frequently misdiagnosed as generic dullness. Yet in an attempt to fix these visible issues, many men actively destroy their skin through overgrooming. Stacking multiple chemical serums, aggressively scrubbing with exfoliants, and frequently switching products entirely destroys the skin's natural pH balance. This strips away the protective lipid barrier that naturally regulates oil production and fights off bacteria. Treating the face like a sterile canvas to be aggressively scrubbed and chemically altered actually destroys its evolved natural defense mechanisms. Achieving clear, healthy skin requires adopting a subtractive lifestyle routine. Adding more cosmetic products to a broken biological system will not work. The physiological interventions are straightforward. Mandate 8 hours of sleep, enforce deep systemic hydration, maintain strict nasal breathing, and eliminate processed sugars. External care must then be stripped down to 3 baseline elements: a gentle wash, a light moisturizer to support the lipid barrier, and a daily application of sunscreen for continuous UV protection. Trusting the body's natural healing timeline is the most effective skincare routine available. Ruthlessly eliminating these 7 specific saboteurs will visibly, physically transform the structure and clarity of a face in just 7 days.